Hey guys, what's up? You know, 25 years ago the Disney Afternoon came out. And I can always remember 25 years ago where I was. Me and my family were living on Miquelon Avenue in Hayward, California. And this was at a time we were going through a lot of transitions. We were kind of one of those families that every now and then we would move and we'd end up someplace else, either in the same vicinity, same city, or another city, another town, whatever. So we would go all over the place. But I remember living on Miquelon Avenue in 1990 when Disney Afternoon began. And I remember watching it and really enjoying it. I really did. I remember the fact that there was a marathon that they had done on Labor Day that day. And they even repeated it, I think, on New Year's as well, in 1991. But it was a marathon that consisted of every single miniseries every single miniseries, if not recent miniseries, and pilot that was out at that time. Gummy Bears, of course, started it off around, I think what time did they start it off in? I think they started it off around 12 o'clock. It was started at noon Pacific, as far as the most I can remember. It started around 12 at noon, right at noon. And it was a long deal. It went from noon all the way up to about 9 o'clock. That's how long it was. It was a 9-hour marathon to promote this. And in the middle of it, you had the Disney Afternoon block, but then afterwards you had the other pilot miniseries. But like I say, Gummy Bears, I remember right at noon, started it off with the finale, which was King Igthorn. And what a way to start off, you know. And then following that, we had, I think, DuckTales. And I think this one was Super DuckTales with Gizmo Duck. I think that was the one. And then, after that, we went right into the Disney Afternoon. And then after the Disney Afternoon, we had Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, To the Rescue movie pilot. And then we had Tailspin, the Plunder and Lightning uncut movie pilot. That's right. Basically, the uncut pilot was seen about a week before, a week before in syndication. What was funny from what I remember is the original premiere for Plunder and Lightning Uncut premiered on KTVU Channel 2 a week before, and then it was re-aired on KBHK, now KBCW 44, on Labor Day as part of the Disney Afternoon World Premiere Marathon. And to me, the Disney Afternoon just set the standard for what afternoon cartoons would be from then on. Not saying that we didn't have decent afternoon cartoons, we did. It's just that every channel from KTVU Channel 2 to KBHK 44, and even KICW 36, and even Coffee Channel 20, all had a different variety of shows. KTVU and KBHK had I guess you could say, the best of when it came to syndicated cartoons. KICU and Coffee, they were okay, they had decent ones, but they were mostly dedicated somewhat to the Filmation library. I think in the Filmation library with some of the kind of under the radar Filmation series that came from the past decade or so. And I think KICU was more along the lines of the anime, like, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy, not Guardians, but the anime like Speed Racer and I think Battle of the Planets and even Voltron, I believe. So they had that going for them. Well, Voltron I actually think moved to KBHK after KICU, but still, they had, like I said, they had things like Battle of the Planets. They had Astro Boy and Speed Racer, kind of like the block. But it was nothing. But no matter how good it was nothing compared to what KBHK and KTVU had offered at that time. And then when the Disney Afternoon came around, it's like things really started to, pick up, if you will, and some things did suffer for it. I mean, KICU stopped doing a little bit of the animation block with the animes and stuff, and I think they did pick up a few of the shows that got dropped by KBHK and KTVU for a time. Coffee went more into being now a Chinese network. Yeah, literally. It went into a Chinese network. And it's like no more cartoons, nothing. It was more like, and I'm not going to say anything this way, but it was more like it was very Chinese, if you know what I mean. No offense. No offense. But it was just very Chinese, Korean kind of programming. No English language, nothing. And that's the honest truth. But still, other networks, other syndicated channels that had cartoons and everything kind of suffered because of it. But in the long run, it actually, like I say, set the standard for what afternoon cartoons should be, to the point that Fox, the following year, decided, you know what? Whatever Disney can do, we can do better. And they, in a collaboration with Warner Brothers, decided to start building their own afternoon block along with a Saturday morning block that consisted of Batman, X-Men, you name it, Tiny Toons, whatever other shows were on at that time. They just started pumping them out and pumping them out left and right in a real competitive war, if you will. I guess you'd call it the weekday wars, the weekday afternoon wars, as to the Monday night war. But the weekday afternoon wars between Warner Brothers Fox and Disney. The only advantage is Warner Brothers and Fox had made a pact with all the all the syndicated channels that were kind of owned or co-owned by Time Warner. So they made that pact that these channels exclusively. Didn't matter if you lived in California, Kansas, Texas, Florida, Pennsylvania, it didn't matter. If you had a WB related channel, or a channel owned by Warner Brothers in some way, that was your Fox outlet. If you had a Fox network that was the same way, that would be your Fox WB network. Basically, if it was a WB network or WB syndicated station, you would be getting the Fox Kids. You'd be getting Fox Kids there. Same if it was Fox entirely. You'd be getting Fox Kids, period. Now, of course, the WB decided to tear away from that and do their own thing, take any of the program they had on Fox over to their side. Long story short, it became a three-way battle. And unfortunately, even though the Disney Afternoon ran up to about 1997, 1998 in some areas, the 1-2 punch of Fox Kids and then Kids WB was a little too much for it. And thus, Disney Afternoon faded into obscurity, got replaced by One Saturday Morning, which was a mild success in its own right, as a great successor, if you will, to the Disney Afternoon. And, long story short, the Disney Afternoon, even for 7 to 8 years, really set the standard, especially in its first couple of years, of what an afternoon block, an after-school animation block should be. I mean, the shows that they had were great. I mean, you had Gummy Bears, which was already a proven hit on Saturday mornings. You had DuckTales, which was a proven hit in syndication as well in some markets on Saturday mornings. Rescue Rangers came on and basically blew away all people's expectations. It became something that even to this day is known as a phenomenon, and even now is considered for a live-action CGI movie comeback. You had Tailspin, which really set the standard as far as great animation goes, fluid animation goes when it comes to syndicated animated programming. Darkwing Duck definitely gave a great parody spoof to the dark superhero personas of a Batman and a Darkman and a Shadow. It was just great fun there. Goof Troop proved that you can have a suburban kind of sitcom-like show with the elements of a Disney, with the elements of an action adventure comedy as well. Improved that. Bonkers, was a mixed bag in the eyes of fans, but definitely showed that you could do that live action animation thing in animation, kind of like that Roger Rabbit deal in just true animation, and run with it. They had a decent concept until things messed up. And that's my dog in the background. She's just hacking. She's got allergies, so don't worry, she's fine. She's fine. She's okay. Very hyperactive dog, I will say that. But anyway, like I was saying, Bonkers, like I said, proved that you could do a sort of a animation take on what you saw in Roger Rabbit. Had the potential to be even better in the eyes of a lot of people. And that's my dog again. She's hacking. She's kind of itching herself, so don't worry. She's okay. She's fine. She's fine. But anyway, like I said, Bonkers had that potential to do that. And then Aladdin came around in 1994 and really showed that you could adapt a movie into an animated series, continue it on in animated series form, and it really took off. It was really good. Gargoyles definitely blew people's expectations out of the water. What more could be said about that? Timon and Pumbaa came along and became a hit, again proving that even through mini shorts that they mostly what the show consisted of, you could do a good show. Mighty Ducks came along with Quack Pack the following year, and was semi-decent. Quack Pack still kind of looked at as the black sheep of the Disney afternoon, like why was this even brought around? This has nothing to do with DuckTales. So even though it was recently proven that it really didn't have anything to do with DuckTales, it was a different continuity. What else? Oh yeah, and like I said, Mighty Ducks showed that it has a decent following even to this day, but it showed that you don't have to adapt the movie itself, that you can take the concept and go an entirely different direction with it. And they did just that. And then again, depending on what markets it still ran in 97, 98, you had Hercules and you had 101 Dalmatians. So Hercules basically showing that you could do a decent kind of like mid-quill series that takes place in between the movie itself, along with maybe doing an episode that takes place after the movie, sort of like serving as a finale, being a clip show finale, as well as do a crossover with Aladdin. So it showed it could do that. So it showed those kind of things. And then 101 Dalmatians showed that you can do a decent adaptation there of a series, which was fun and cool. Or in my opinion, one of my personal favorites. So overall, definitely for its like I say 6 to 8 year run, the Disney Afternoon really to me set the standard, especially in its first few years, of how an afternoon children's animation block should be done. So to me, when I look back at the Disney Afternoon 25 years later, I look back at it with fond memories. I know there's a lot of people out there watching this that have dedicated recorded tapes of Disney Afternoon day after day, and I'm sure a lot of people would appreciate if you could try to put those on YouTube, maybe torrents, if you will, so we could kind of get back that magic and that nostalgia. So, but to me, I always look back on it with fondness, and that's really all I'm going to say. Let me know what you guys think down below, and I will talk to you all later. And again, I apologize for my dog hacking. She's okay, she's fine. She's just got allergies. But she's fine, she's very hyperactive. Believe me, she is.